Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is another fantastic day, and it is another day of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. Kelly, what kind of day is it for you? Is it a great day, a fabulous day, a marvelous day? Sometimes we got to challenge your synonyms here. What kind of day are you having?
You know what? It's a good point. I'm having a great day. And it's not because, I want to think of something fantastic to say or anything, but sometimes you're just having a great day, and it's a great day. It's not like, I have to make anything up. But you know what? If you said, well, what made it so great? What's so specific? I don't have anything to tell you.
No.
I have nothing specific to say. Oh my goodness, I closed this.
You're living life. You're on, you're going to work. You got the privilege of breathing in air. That's a great day right there.
Breathing in air is so true. And I was going to say, it's not like I, closed a $5 million deal today, although yesterday I did. But outside of that, maybe that's why I'm still great.
It's still the after effects of that. Yeah.
That's probably what it is. Actually,
smelling like $5 million. That's probably it.
Exactly. Hey, not too often that happens, right? So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations.
Thank
you. And you just sold a $5 million property, and it's what, December, right?
It's December.
It's December.
December to remember.
Last week we talked about kind of handling holiday objections, right? Like, this is kind of that time of the year, especially, I know that we say around the holidays, and usually we're talking about Christmas time, but I mean, in my head, the holidays is anywhere from Thanksgiving all the way through New Year's. It's really kind of a month and a half span, right? And I think a lot of people are in that mindset. So even though somebody's like, oh, I don't want to list my house right now because, the holidays, and it's like, well, we still have, almost a month left until Christmas, they're still kind of in that mindset already that, the year's almost done, right? We did a whole episode on that last week, so go back and watch it, how you can still make deals happen right now, how to talk to your clients about their decision to wait until the new year. But this week, we want to talk about charging the storm. This is literally, I'm not joking you. We came into this meeting right now, and I'm like, all right, Kelly, what are we talking about? He's like, charging the storm. And I'm like, okay. So this is something that Kelly is super passionate about right now. And really, yes, because it's the end of the year, and I know that, like I said, we're all kind of in this mindset, and it's kind of a slower time in real estate right now. Could be because of the holidays, could be just because of the way this whole year has kind of gone, right? And it's kind of the cap to that. But what should you be doing right now, Kelly? Should we all just be waiting until next year to kick it into gear, or should we be charging the storm right now?
Charge the storm right now. I think you know the answer to that question. That was an easy setup. I like it, Elizabeth, because hopefully people are paying attention.
Yeah.
But I got to give a shout out to my coach Dave Richards with Elite Coaching and Associates. He and I were talking the other day, and he calls it into the storm. Well, I just switched up to charge the storm. But he talks about this example, which is actually very interesting, about apparently in the plains of Colorado on the east side of the state is one of the few places in the country, if not maybe the world, where you have buffalo and cows existing in the same habitat, same land, right? Cows graze on this pasture, and wild buffalo do the same. And what's interesting is the Rockies are known for weather patterns and weather patterns surrounding the Rocky Mountains because of obvious things with the heights of the mountains, etc. And what happens is you have these same two animals that are in the same habitat, and yet when the storm comes over the Rockies traveling west to east, when the cow sees it, the cows actually start walking, or probably not running, but walking, moving away from the storm. They head east, and they go as fast as they can, which is never fast enough. And they're finally consumed by the storm. And because they went to the east, they actually are in the storm longer, and it overtakes them. They're overwhelmed. There's nothing they can do, and they just ride it out and just have to endure that storm. Whereas take the buffalo in that same situation with that same storm, when it comes over the Rockies heading west to east, the buffalo sees it and he charges right into the storm. Why? Because the buffalo has a different behavior pattern. The buffalo understands that in that situation, it's better just to get it over with. You can't do anything about it. It's outside of your control. So charge the storm, get through it as fast as possible, because if you go into it as opposed to run away from it, you're going to get out of it much sooner. And I think that the same applies to real estate. Same applies to a situation right now where real estate is slower right now than it was obviously 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 2 years ago. Yet, can you really control much of that aspect? Can you control the outside market conditions? No, you can't. If interest rates are going to go up,
yeah,
they're going to
you can't control the weather.
Go up,
yeah,
it's going to go up. If inflation's going to go up, it's going to go up. If the government's going to do what the government's going to do, the government's going to do what's going to, and you can't do anything about that. You can control what you can control. What you can control in this real estate industry is how you treat clients. What you can't control is how many calls are you going to make. What you can't control is how many marketing pieces are you going to send out to get your client's house sold and to reach new clients, things of that nature. If you do all those same things and yet no one says, hey, Kelly, I want to buy a property now, or I'm ready to sell my house, you can't control that. But eventually, because just like a storm, it's going to pass, that time will come where then they will reach out and say, I'm ready, it's time to sell my house. Or possibly a whole cycle might go through and they never reach out to you. And guess what comes again? Another storm. Because the storms don't stop. The cow, you'd think, would realize this, right? And eventually go, you know what? Okay, here comes another one. Let's just get it over with. No, but they don't. They're creatures of their own habit. They don't change their behavior. So I can't think of a better analogy. When he's talking about that, I was like, wow, this is so good.
Profound. Yeah.
So good. Because, the holidays are coming up and it's the holiday season, but this segment is very timely because of that, but it's not about that. This could be
the real estate
May.
cycle could be at any time. Yeah.
September. Yeah, it doesn't matter. And a storm is going to come, meaning in real estate, high interest rates, people are on the sidelines, not as many transactions occurring yet. What are you going to do to set yourself up when the sun is actually shining? And I told my team this too, Elizabeth. I said, look, guys, you're going to, as sure as I sit here today, come February, you're going to look around the marketplace. Come March, you're going to look around the marketplace. You're going to see a couple of agents, or actually a lot of agents, and you're going to be like, wow, so-and-so appears to be doing really, really well. They're killing it. They're crushing it. And you're going to say, well, what are they doing right now? Let's go see if I can't mimic what they're doing. And the problem is you're too late.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yep. The problem is what you should be doing is asking those people what they're doing today. Now, you might not know who they even are right now because they haven't rose to the top of the surface, so to speak, right? Because maybe they're newer, or maybe they just had a down streak, but now they're going to work hard, and they start working hard right now. And guess what? Their expectation right now is one that is nothing's going to come from it. I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to probably do more lead generation activities than I've done this entire year, and expect less of a result than I ever received this entire year. That's okay. That's what it should be, because if you have false expectations, it's going to lead to heartbreak. So don't have those false expectations. Have the expectation of what's really probably going to happen, meaning no one's going to buy, no one's going to sell. That's not necessarily true, right? A lot of people are still going to do it, but it's down from what it normally is. But come January, February, March, at least in Phoenix, it's going to explode. And the reason why, especially in a market like Phoenix, is because it's very seasonal. And we look at it right now, and yeah, it's very nice in Phoenix right now. It will remain nice in Phoenix throughout the first part of the next year. But because of the holidays and yada, 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 right? Less people just naturally buy and sell, even though it's still nice. For the exact same reasons as it should be happening right now, it will happen in January, February, only because the holidays are over. It's a new year and people are on to the next thing. And you see every year, the listings under contract, the amount of buyers explode to the tune over the last 2 years. If you average out in Phoenix, it's about 29% increase from January 1 to February 1, just in 1 month. It just goes. And so if you believe data and you understand how cycles work, it's going to happen again. Last year, this time, rates are still around 7. And it still went about 34%, even higher than it did in 2022 from January 1 to February 1. Now, not every market's the same. So check your local market stats, of course, right? And how you guys work in your cycle. Yeah, absolutely. But I know mine in Phoenix. And so now all we can do is say, cycles repeat themselves. It's probably going to happen again. So what can I do to make sure I get my unfair share when it comes to January 1 and February 1, when things kind of go that way and take off? Well, if you wait till January 4th, it might be a little too late. Now, can you still ride that wave and do, yeah, I'm sure you probably could, but to the extent that you could, if you started working today in the first part of December and through the whole month of December, no, it would not happen that way.
Because when people do, they wait until January, February, whatever, that doesn't mean that they haven't been thinking, like they just decided this, right? Like they've been thinking about that. Typically, listing your home, buying a home is not a spur of the moment decision, typically, right? So even if they're not ready to do anything until January, February, somebody's going to be reaching out to them and having those conversations about it. Might as well be you. And the earlier you're there and you start talking to them, conversing with them, guiding them, better chances that you're going to be the one they work with when they do list in January, February, March, whatever it is.
Totally. Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say also, something we were talking about before we got on this episode today as well is, like Kelly said, historically, that's when the market starts to move, right? And even last year, he said that the buyers went up a lot. And I think too that recently, I believe the Fed said that they were going to lower the interest rates, right? That's been a big holdup for a lot of people this year. Why would I move, buy a new home when the interest rates are this high? If they lower them, even if it's, slightly, a lot of those people that have been wanting to make a move but didn't because of interest rates might jump on that chance, right? So I think maybe even higher than previous years, this is going to be a really big opportunity come these next couple of months here, hopefully, right?
100%. And you look at the chief economist from ING, right, the investment firm, and he said that right now it looks that, and it's been rumored that the Fed is going to cut anywhere from 4 to 6 times next year, and they're putting it out there already, and those will be 25 basis points each cut as right now. And obviously that could change based on economic conditions going into next year, but as right now, to have that wasn't happening coming out of 2022 into 23. So they had that kind of optimism, which just makes sense. I did a show the other day, and I talked about how some of the stats, right? Some of the stats right now, I think it was like over 60% of all Americans have a car payment over $1,000 a month, and car payment delinquencies are the highest they've been since 1994. Then you have mortgage delinquencies increasing. Now, obviously, a lot of people have equity across the country, so in terms of foreclosures, probably not a lot of that, but they're still increasing in terms of delinquencies, people being late on their mortgages. Then you have credit card debt now at an all-time high in the billions and billions of dollars. So look at all these things and you go, well, what's the one reason that you can attribute to people not being able to pay a monthly payment? It's the interest rates. So you look at all these things combined. We obviously have election year next year. You have all these things combined. When you add them all up, all the signs really point to most likely rates are going to come down faster than what we all thought 6 months ago even. So that all being said, you take that, and then you take what Redfin just came out actually with some stats, which I'll just give you really quick. And what they're saying, I won't bore the numbers because numbers are numbers, but the numbers are that in quarter one, if you take an average of where you think the amount of transactions that occur in the United States on real estate deals, where you think they're going to end up for the entire year, right now it's on track to end up at around 3.85 million transactions, down from like 5 million a year ago. Okay, ish. So that's going to end up being a lot lower than what it was. However, by quarter one of next year, Redfin is already they're already predicting. Thank you. That's the word. Yep. Predicting that there will be more on track to be more homes sold in the United States in quarter one than there was in quarter three of this year. Okay. More than quarter one next year than quarter three of this year. And then it just goes up every quarter from there to where they're predicting by the end of 2024, there will be about 4.5 million transactions that will occur in America. Now you take 2021, that was a banner year, and you're talking about 5.1 homes selling approximately in America. And so after all the trouble since then in 22, 23, interest rates, et cetera, inflation, all this, to have in 24 potentially end up being around 4.5 million, that is incredible. And then what's even worse, let me say this, is right now, Elizabeth, check this out, guys. You'll love this. Take all information. Okay, here you go. This is why it's data over drama, facts over feelings, right? Because Lending Tree did a survey, and their survey said that right now, 44% of American homeowners are expecting a market crash. I'll go one step further. 31% are uncertain. That's 75% of homeowners out there that just, they think the market's going to go completely down the toilet, or they're not really sure, and so therefore they wouldn't be surprised if it went completely down the toilet. Yet, we just saw the data.
Yeah.
Right? The Fed pretty much already said into the, in the circles that matter, that they're going to be they're going to have 4 price interest rate cuts next year on the federal funds rate, maybe up to 6. And then that's kind of some serious foreshadowing here. And then you have the people, though, that this survey just came out, Lending Tree, I think a week ago. Yet 75% of Americans, basically call it, think that the markets is completely going to crash, and they're waiting for home prices to reset so they can jump in and buy a steal. And it's just not.
They're going to be waiting for a long time if that's the
that's right.
the reason.
Elizabeth, everyone wants to feel that's going to happen because they feel like that's probably should be happening because of the fact that home prices are high, et cetera, affordability is high. But just because you feel that way doesn't mean it's going to happen, because data is always going to trump any type of drama or feelings that you have, emotions that you have. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think the people who position themselves right now, today, not January, but December of 2023, will really be in a great position to take advantage of all the pent-up demand that we know is there, that will come out if some of these things happen next year, which will cause. That's why I said what I said 3 months ago on the show, Elizabeth. I expect, my prediction was that home prices will be up at the end of 2024 in America, anywhere from 8 to 10%.
Oof.
And everyone said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Okay, let's see what happens."
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I mean, I'm a homeowner, so of course I hope so. but I think that's I don't think that the even now, through all of this, with a lot less demand, a lot, with the interest rates. I mean, Kelly, we're kind of getting into a lot of statistics here today, but have we seen home prices go down a lot? Of course, no.
Yes.
From like 2021, they're
Certain
not
areas.
going over asking like they were, but you have seen them drop. And how much would you say that, like, average, that they have dropped then from like 2021, 22?
So yeah, what's interesting is it's all depending on when you take the measurement from, right, year over year, from this month to that month. In Arizona and Phoenix, I should say, not Arizona, but Phoenix. And by the way, 8 to 10%, I can't speak for the country, but I think the 8 to 10% is what's going to increase in terms of home prices in the Phoenix area. That's my prediction. Now, somewhere else it could be 3% or 4%, but Phoenix, I think, is really set up well in terms of the job activity and the businesses coming here, et cetera, and the lack of supply to really have a little bit of a price appreciation jump next year. Okay, with respect to how much they've probably come down since May, I think it was from May of 22 to May of 23, it was down not that much, about 2%. Now, from May of 2023 to the end of May of 2022 to May of December 22, there you go, end of the year, that 9-month run there, it was down like 15 to 16%.
No, was
and
it
then,
from where it was during?
Correct. In Phoenix, correct. And then what happened is, and then we got that seasonal demand that kind of came back, right? And then it went, and then so we almost were fully recovered in terms of the price appreciation that we lost during that time by the whole year over year mark. So if you went from like October, or I should say November of 22 to November of 23, we actually had a decent price appreciation gain because it's already down the gutter by November of 22. So it was up.
Yeah.
So it was up. So it depends on how you, depends on how you look at it. But no question from
because here in Omaha, I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, and I think we just have a much more. It's not as. We don't feel the swings near as much. It's a lot more stable, and I don't really think that we have gone down much in pricing. But again, this all depends on your local market, which is why it's very important to know the stats in your local market and be able to communicate that to your clients, because they're seeing the national news. That's not necessarily what's going on in your area. It really varies from location to location. But kind of the point that I was trying to make with that is, even though it has been, they're saying, oh, the market could crash, like it, the home prices, even through all of this, really didn't take a nosedive. Like you're saying, they were
Right.
down, but they weren't, there was no crash that happened. And I think that's what a lot of people were holding their breath for. This year, this would have been the year, right? That it would have crashed, and it didn't.
Yeah, because the problem was they're basing all of their crash, quote unquote, off of the height of where it was in 2022 before it started to go down, like May
Right.
of 22. And that was so, you're right, it was inflated. It was up an incredible amount. So to take it from there, if it goes down 18%, which, almost it did, that didn't move
It's
the needle
just
much because
stabilizing it.
it just
Mhm.
it just eliminated the last like 4 or 5 months of gain because it went up so quick, so fast, right? So high, so fast. So yeah, people they have very short memories on how this all works. And again, one of the best graphs I ever saw is when someone actually drew this out for me, Elizabeth. It was actually like, the old XY axis, and the graph went in a 45-degree angle this way. But the graph wasn't a straight line. What it was a bunch of zigzags, up, down, but going up and down in zigzags in the short term. The long term was up at a 45-degree angle, which is interesting because what's that describing to you right there? The housing market.
Mhm.
It goes
Yeah.
up, it goes down, it goes up, but
There's still
over a
a
period of
steady
time,
trend.
that's
Yep.
right, 30 years,
Mhm.
50 years, it just goes up.
Mhm.
So people, if you have a long-term perspective, which most people don't, unfortunately, the whole microwave economy, I want
Mhm.
something now, instant gratification. But if you have a long-term approach to real estate, you will win, period, the end, because they're not making any more land.
Mhm. That's true. I mean, yeah, I'm out here, like I said, in Nebraska. We have a lot of cornfields, a lot less all the time. So, and there's not making any more. So, absolutely. Well, I think that'll wrap us up for this episode. We kind of jumped around, talked about a lot of different things, but the sentiment here is charge the storm. Don't wait for it to pass, because you're going to get caught up in it. You're just going to be stuck in it. If you don't charge it like a buffalo, get to the other side and get through it, and be proactive about doing so, right? Like
Mhm.
actually be proactive. If you're doing stuff right now, you're doing activities with the expectation that nothing's going to come from it. And somebody's doing nothing with the expectation that nothing's going to come from it. One of those two is going to win. Eventually something is going to come from it. And if you're looking to build your real estate team this year, please go to buildyourrealestateteam.com and download Kelly's full guide on how to get that started. And Kelly, if anybody has any questions about this, or just wants any other great, wisdom and stories and all that stuff that you're learning, where can they reach you?
Or just, random facts about farm animals, whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's got
Buffalo
sports.
and
He's got
cows.
farm animals. He's a Nebraska boy as well. So
That's right. That's right. At heart, So yeah. Instagram at Kelly Cook Homes, or text or call 480-227-2028.
right. We will see you guys all next week. And please do something today. Start today so that you can take advantage of what hopefully is going to be a great quarter all across the country, and not just in specific markets. We'll see ya.
Correct. Amen. See ya.